Do you guys ever feel like everything is working against the vision you had for your life, your destiny, your purpose? Because I know I have felt that way so many times, and I have looked at the life of King David as a encouragement for most of my life, but I was always focused on after he became king. And recently I have gotten more of an understanding of what he went through after he got prophesied over by Samuel, who, by the way, was known for none of his words hitting the ground, meaning every prophetic word that he gave was spot on, happened, was amazing. And so after he gets this word from this amazing prophet, everything works against him. Except at first, he was in King Saul's house. He was loved by King Saul. And then he started being cooler than King Saul. So everybody loved him more and praised him more. And so Saul was like, I don't want that. So he starts chasing after him to kill him for like 13 years. So it seemed like he was on his way. The prophecy was coming true. He was living in the king's house. He was on his way. And then all of a sudden, just doing what he was supposed to be doing, the king was like, nah. So just to summarize, after he was fleeing, when he was fleeing for like 13 years for his life, which is interesting because like he killed Goliath, like he wasn't afraid of Goliath, but then he ran away from King Saul. There was purpose in that though. So it wasn't just because he was scared for his life. There was purpose in that. See, he had built this group of men around him that really believed in him and believed in his vision, and they were called in the mighty men of David, right? But they were all the outcasts, which I think is interesting because when I was in this ministry and I was really trying to be a part of it, it turned out all the outcasts were the only ones who wanted anything to do with me. And I ended up feeling like an outcast myself. And that just really resonated with me. So he first flees to Israel, his brethren, who really looked up to him and thanked him for saving their life so many times. And he was like, God, are they going to rat me out? Are they going to tell King Saul where I am? And God was like, yep. So I was like, great, I can't even trust my own people, because you realize that even your people will sell you out if it benefits them. So then he ran to the Philistines, which he killed their warrior. So they were so in awe of him because of his strength that they invited him in and thought we could take advantage of having him on our side. So at night he would go out and he would fight for them and he would bring back all the spoils, and he like did so much for them. But then they went to go fight Israel, and Israel was like, they were like, no, he can't go fight Israel with us because he could turn on us and get all of Israel to turn on us and win against us. So we can't. So then he was rejected by the Philistines. And then he goes back with his men to his place where all his women and children, all their women and children were, to find out that all their women and children had been taken. Not killed, but taken. And their village was just on flames. And so now all of his mighty men, I think there were like 400 to 600 of them, were turned against him. So now, not only has he been rejected by his king, rejected by his people, the Israelites, rejected by the Philistines, but then rejected by his men, his mighty men who owe him their lives. And it shows you, it's like, God, hold on, I'm supposed to be king. And now I'm rejected by all these people after I've done everything for them. I have fought for them. I have won for them. I have brought back the spoils for them. I have done everything for these people, and I just keep getting rejected. Did God really say that I'm going to be king? And that's exactly what the enemy said to Eve in the garden. Did God really say not to eat this? It's the same tactic that he uses forever. Did God really say? So that's what's interesting is you get this promise, you get this prophecy, you get this division for your life, and then everything works against it. And this wasn't some season. This was 13 years of this man's life. And so everything seems to be working against it to where you end up questioning. But what's interesting is in 1 Samuel 30, verse 6, at the very end, it says, David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. That's where we have to be. When everyone has rejected us, can we strengthen ourselves? The case is being built, okay, and getting stronger and stronger and stronger, that I don't know if I'm really going to get what I was promised. But that happens in our lives still today. We have instances and attacks and people, naysayers. A prophet is not welcome in his own home. So why do we learn ministry at home? It's so that you will not get used to applause. You don't get addicted to that applause, but you are married to the purpose and to the vision and to what you have to have all that opposition to teach you, to strengthen yourself in the Lord. When you've got nobody else, all you've got is God. That's all you need. And you strengthen yourself. You get the tools to strengthen yourself, which is what I talk about in my book, is teaching you the tools to strengthen yourself in the Lord, so that when the big moment comes, you're ready. So what did he do when he went to God and he was like, God, and it seems obvious that he should go get his family back, right? It seems obvious that he should fight for his people more, even though they're rejecting him. But what did he do? He went back to God and said, should I do this? And should I take back everything? Should I overtake them completely? And God was like, yup, and you're not going to fail. It's that defining moment in your alone time. It's not to build independence. It's not to show you, oh, I don't need anybody. I can't trust anybody. I can't rely on anybody. It's to show you that even when you have no one, that's the defining moment. Can you strengthen yourself in the Lord so that he can entrust upon you what he has for you? That responsibility of that calling and that destiny and that purpose. Can he entrust that upon you? Because it's when you're alone that that you show him who your God really is. Is your God depression and all the things that you do to feed that depression? Or is your God your creator and you choose joy, you choose to seek him? That's what David did over and over and over again. That's why he was known as the man after God's own heart. Not because he was perfect and he did all the right things, but because he constantly went back and sought God for what to do. When he was loathing in self-pity, he went back and he ended up praising by the end of the chapter. Every single time a chapter starts out with woe is me, it ends with praising God. So it's in that defining moment of when you are alone, of what you do with that and who you seek. I think it is so powerful to keep a journal of all the times that you're in these low moments and you're in these like, what do I do moments? And then when a breakthrough comes, whether out in your circumstances or just within, because most of the time the biggest breakthrough we need is just in here, and it's just in here, and our circumstances don't even need to change. It's us that needs to change to find the joy in all of our circumstances. But when we keep that journal and we write it all down, we have those stories and that history to go back to see when we were in lack and to see when we were in abundance and to see when the breakthrough and how the breakthrough came. Because when we record what we did, then we can go back and make that our default, right? And so what I do, it doesn't say what David did. What I know David did, I know he was a worshiper. I know that. He wrote Psalms. He wrote worship to the Lord. I know he played instruments. Did you know he created his own instruments? Like he built them from scratch? That's amazing. But what I would say is when I dive into the word and I learn more about it, I mean, think about it. It is Jesus, Yeshua in print. And so it's spending time with him. So when I dive into his word and all these other stories that encourage me, and then when I worship and I sing and I praise, it says that he inhabits our praises. And so when we're praising with him, we can feel that freedom and that breakthrough and that clarity or confirmation or whatever we need in his presence. That comes in his presence, and he inhabits our praises. I mean, how beautiful is that? Do you know how wonderful it is when I'm sitting there and someone I love is adoring me or cherishing me? I mean, it has to be someone super close to me. Otherwise it would be weird. But if they're adoring me and cherishing me, oh my God, I eat it up and I love it because it's just that intimacy. But then why wouldn't our creator want that intimacy with us? So it's that intimacy and that adoration that we pour out with him is where he inhabits that, and we're with him in his presence, and that's where the breakthrough comes. And a lot of times it also comes with just having a cup of coffee with your friend, spending some time with some people that feed you and energize you rather than drain you. And it's not talking about your problem. It's not trying to get, oh, pray for me, because sometimes we can get addicted to the problem and talking about it and trying to figure it out, and it's just too much in our face. So get away from the problem. Just hanging out, just spending time, having that quality time, because it's not that he wants us to be alone. It's that he wants us to learn how to strengthen ourselves within him and not have to go to somebody else to do it, because men are going to fail you. People are going to fail you. There's going to be a time where people disappoint you, and you can either hold on to that bitterness and resentment, or you can forgive them and learn who to keep in your life and who not to have in your life. Because just because you forgive them does not mean they should stay in your life. Boundaries are important. And if people refuse to stick to your boundaries, then they don't want to be in your life that bad. Okay? Because boundaries are not to keep people out. They're in order to keep people in. We want boundaries to be able to have you in my life, but you not cross these boundaries because I love you and because I love myself, and I want to love both of us simultaneously. That's what boundaries do. But we want to have community to a point where we can just spend time, and it's just quality time, where it's not dealing with problems and dealing with issues, but it's just enjoying each other's company. And sometimes that's what prayer is. And it's not always God fix this and God need this and God help me there. It's just chilling with him, talking to him about stuff, loving on him, letting him love on you, and listening, being quiet and listen. To the point, and what I would like for you to take away from this video and message today is, A, take responsibility for learning how to strengthen yourself in the Lord. And B, learning from great leaders in the word, like David. David was an amazing leader. So after, his mighty men had rejected him and he went to the Lord to seek, like, do I go after these people and get our people back? And should I overtake them? When he went to the Lord and got the direction and God said, do it, he went back to his people and all he said was, let's go get our people. He didn't manipulate them through shame and say, I've done all this for you, and God is saying this, and God has made me a great leader, and God has told me all this. There was no need to manipulate with shame because God gave him a direction. He trusted God to help him get his people to follow him again. He was such a great leader. He did not lead through manipulation of shame. There was no need for that, because if God backs you, you don't need to manipulate anybody into following you. To the point, and what I would like for you to take away from this video and message today is, A, take responsibility for learning how to strengthen yourself in the Lord. And B, learning from great leaders in the word, like David. David was an amazing leader. So after, his mighty men had rejected him and he went to the Lord to seek, like, do I go after these people and get our people back? And should I overtake them? When he went to the Lord and got the direction and God said, do it, another thing that he did is he did not assume he knew what God wanted him to do. He sought God. Another thing that he did is he did not assume he knew what